So just after Starmer did his last flip-flop, he said on the Friday that he'll fight on.
Yeah.
And on the Monday, he kowtowed and said, "I'm out of here. I can't take the heat." So, so
Well,
much, so much for his cheap suits.
well, you have to admit he's probably been one of the most consistent prime ministers we've had. If you follow my drift here,
Well,
he's always flip-flopping. You always knew what he said today, he would change by tomorrow. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Okay, but anyway,
Yeah.
back to the plot here.
Yeah.
So over the years, I've lived in some strange conditions.
Mm.
I've often spoke about my times in cars, boats, and motorhomes. We've
Yeah.
spoken about that a long time ago. And even a nice apartment that I left, and just as old Captain Tom, I turned my back and just walked on.
Yeah.
One of my fixed abodes was in Watford, and I shared a cellar
Mm.
with a partition in the middle with a French woman. Uh, we were six sharing a house, including the owner who lived in the front room, and he got annoyed if anybody came home late, a little worse for wear, should we say,
Yes.
after a night on the Raz. Luckily, the cellar was in good condition, no damp, mold, or not even all that cold, to be quite honest. It was what it was,
Mm.
half a cellar.
Yeah.
I paid my rent and, used the cellar to crash my head, and
Mm.
the rest is history.
Yeah.
Now, I say luckily the cellar is in good condition because many HMOs leave a bit to be desired with difficult landlords, and it seems that new legislation has been brought in to keep the landlords under some sort of control. So if the dwelling is unfit because it suffers from damp or has mold problems, the landlords could be fined for not correcting the situation. The magic sum is £7,000 for each problem. Britain's councils can fine these private landlords, but of course, the proper council properties are exempt. So the councils can leave you in squalor,
Yeah.
but the private landlord can't.
Yeah.
We can all agree that repairs and maintenance must be carried out by the landlord, even up to draft proofing the windows. And of course, the landlords will benefit because a well-kept house will always stand at the top of the value range of that for that area of housing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that most of them realise this, but there are those who don't like to spend, and I think it's these that the legislation is aimed at. With this extra burden on the landlords, there would need to be some return, of course. Private landlords are able to raise the rents once a year in accordance to the limits laid out by the justice system. Only this limit to date has not been decided on. So this limit at the moment could be the sky. The
Mm.
sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, if a house is in good nick and it's worth more, the rent of the property should reflect this, right?
Yes.
There you are. There you have it. There's this
Well,
new legislation brought in that if the landlords don't do the repairs, they get fined.
right.
Good
Uh,
or bad?
Right. Okay. Unlike you, I've had to move from digs to digs on occasions. Found the occasional broom cupboard that was up for rent and moved in
Yep.
there with a
There you are.
ensuite kitchen and a shared bathroom. Yeah. Um, and even sometimes, yeah, shared everything. Um, yeah, like you said, it is what it is. Theoretically, I mean, when I was doing it, you got what you paid for. You went in there. If it was dry, somewhere to put your head. Yeah, you accepted you weren't going to be doing much entertaining. Um, I, I never directly had anywhere where the landlord lived. Um, yeah, but yes, certainly lived in some places that um were questionable. Let's put it that way. They were dry. I mean, yeah, or when there was a problem, I reported it and the landlord did something about it. Something being the operative word. I won't say totally remedied the situation. Um, but yeah, when I was when I was renting, there was a whole raft of different regulations, new fire regulations, and everything came in. So the landlords were being hammered with all sorts of
That's right. Yes, they were.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I mean, okay. Um, I I tend to look at it this way. If I wanted to pay a lot of money out of my wages, yeah, and get somewhere really nice, I could do that. If I just wanted somewhere to live and given us a single guy, yeah, who's just really wanted the basics, fair enough. Yeah, somewhere dry, didn't really care if the carpet was brilliant. Um, as long as it's reasonably clean, responsible for my own laundry and everything else, you got on with life. Yeah. And um, yeah, I used to get comments, why you live in there from colleagues. Well, it's that. And I have more money in my pocket. Yeah. You don't have to live there. I do. I made that choice. Um, yeah, because some people used to moan how much rent they used to pay as well on the high end of it. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's right. Well, which is why I asked the question, because if these landlords now are going to be coerced into doing these repairs, somebody has to pay for them.
Yes.
So normally, of course, it's the resident.
Mm.
So their rent, your rent that you used to pay that was a little bit lower,
Yeah.
because you like to be squeezed into somewhere that's a bit smaller,
Mm.
that might not be so elegant.
Yeah.
Their rents could eventually become the same, more or less the same amount as what somebody living in a high-end house would be paying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I
could
would get,
squeeze a lot of people out of the market.
well, in a time where there is a housing crisis,
Yeah,
um, and for various different reasons, and we can argue about who's getting what, etc. But um, it's it does seem very, very strange. But yeah, it's ironic that these law legislations are normally done by well-meaning people, and none of us have any real love for landlords. I mean, we just had to deal with them, or land agent, or the agents who looked after the properties for the landlords, or however they did it. Um, yeah, it's strange, yes, because the people it's probably meant to be helping are the people it's going to hit hardest.
that's right. That's right.
And as well intended, I do believe a lot of these people are well intended in what they draft, the legislation they draft or come up with, and people pass laws that, oh, sounds good, we're protecting the person, which yeah, theoretically they are. Yeah, landlords aren't going to suffer it. They'll either do one of two things. They'll either offload the property, sell the property to people that aren't going to loan it out, or be people that won't make it so available to those in need, and probably might put some major investment in it and turn it into a real high-end property, or do other options, rent it out to to other people who are arriving in the country, as it were. Yeah,
Yes. So, all right. Yeah, I got
yeah,
you. I got you on that one.
yeah. I'm not saying it is. I don't know that side of it
Do you
totally.
remember? Do you remember? I mean, this is when I was back in the UK. So we're
Yeah,
talking about 40 years, 45 years ago.
yeah. Yeah, it's about 30 years.
But the councils used
Yeah.
to give a some sort of support if you draft proofed your home.
Mm. Uh,
So to make your home less drafty during the winter. And I wonder if there's anything that's available to help private landlords, at least to give them a helping hand at doing these major repairs. Because at the end of the day, if they close down their multi HMOs,
yeah,
right? The thing is that's going to be like 5 or 6 people turfed out on the street if they
yeah,
decide to do as you think and sell to somebody who wants to keep the house for themselves.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's. Yes, I've read bits and pieces about it. And yeah, I actually, I do actually know somebody that's, yeah, their landlord is basically selling up now, so they've had to make alternative arrangements.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Where
Live
did
their
it go?
years. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's getting more and more difficult. And I mean, there was a time when, yes, people did it, generally invested in property, A, for their pensions or investments. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an
of course.
income, and you
Yeah,
got spare cash, you do that. I mean, this thing about owning your own home, maybe things are going to be changing. We might be going for a more European model on that in the UK, that you get people who own the properties and others that just live there all the time. I mean, some people could afford maybe to buy a house, but choose not to because of the flexibility of renting. And these are probably going to be the high end users, and there's probably going to be a growing demand for them
yeah.
um, as well. Um, it's, yeah, I think these things are well intentioned. I don't think they're always thought through properly.
And that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the government, it doesn't look at things from both sides.
But
They just think, right, we'll help out the needy today,
yeah,
but don't think about what's going to happen tomorrow. What are
no,
the consequences going to be?
exactly. So it's like consequences.
You can raise the minimum wage, you can do this, do that, do the other, but at the
Oh,
end of the day, if the people who are having to pay these minimum wages can't afford to
yeah,
keep the staff on,
yeah.
they let them go.
Well, that,
So,
yeah. I was explaining this cycle to yeah, someone the other day. It is, yeah, okay. It cost of living wage. Well, cost of living wage then pushes it up the cost of living. I
yeah,
mean, there's no easy solutions to it, and I'm not having to dig at any particular administration or anyone, but how do you keep inflation under control? How do you get it? Yeah, somebody has to pay more rent a month. They will need more salary, else they're homeless. Yeah. And again, with all sorts of other properties and things like this. And um, yeah, I mean, I mean, yes, I do see local, normally Labour councillors raving about this new scheme, the powers they've now got and everything else, um, possibly without realising what the consequences are. And you see underneath on Facebook and all that, you read what the views are. And there are people, believe it or not, even on Facebook, who are knowledgeable about things, who occasionally do post, and they do lay out the issues with it. And the councillors just breeze over it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think because it's every 4 years,
Mm,
the mandate's every 4 years
mm,
that somebody will do something thinking that they're doing something great,
yeah.
and then when the tits start to go upwards,
Mm,
you know, they know that they've got that window of 4 years. After that, they might be out of a job.
yeah.
It's not their responsibility anymore because it was the last administration.
Yeah.
And so you get an awful lot of politicians that leaves an awful lot of crap behind them.
Well, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I'm going to say something controversial here, that
Please do.
democracy is probably not the best form of government overall. Um, yeah, I'll put that as a caveat. It's probably the fairest. Others have been tried. I mean, you either have democracy or you have a dictatorship or some form of, yeah.
Are you leaning towards a dictatorship, sir?
I'm leaning towards stability of some level at the moment in the UK. You
So you don't
know,
mi- you don't mind a bit of dictatorship from here, from time to time.
um, look, if we all lived under a dictatorship and all multimillionaires or were comfortable living, we wouldn't
I don't
care.
know any. I don't know any dictatorship where everybody's a multimillionaire.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I'm going to be, yeah, I sort of um with you there, but I'm just making that point. I'm not suggesting there is a dictatorship, but maybe we ought to find some way of having it so that a good idea or everyone agree. I mean, you have cross-party agreements and things like this sometimes.
I think Switzerland's got it about right because every now and then they have referendum. Of course, Switzerland's a small country, so
Yeah, I
it's
was gonna say, yeah,
it's rather simple to do.
yeah,
But I mean, if there was some sort of major change in any legislation, it could well be that a referendum, just like Brexit,
Mm.
you know, there could be a referendum so that the people decide and
Yeah.
not their representatives. That it's the people have the voice.
Yeah. I mean, the trouble with referendums, when you do have them, um, why do you then elect people on your behalf to make decisions?
To manage the decision that you've made.
Well, just have civil servants.
Well, no, no, not
Yeah, yeah,
really.
yeah. I mean,
Not really.
okay. I'm throwing something out there. Yeah, I mean, every so often I elect somebody who I think is suitable to represent me, so I don't have to go and vote every two weeks or however often. I'm exaggerating. Yeah, who should be able to vote? Who should be able to come up with some logical solutions on my behalf? Um, if I'm having to think every so often, there's a thing that needs a referendum. Why do I vote for a representative to sit there and actually consider all this?
You
I'm
know,
paying their salary, and I'm
yeah,
paying their salary. Yeah,
yeah, one of the best uh, politicians uh, I've met, and unfortunately I've forgotten her name. But if somebody said it, I'd remember it straight away. She was the culture secretary of Ipojuca
right.
near near
Yeah.
near Sant'Agostino,
Mm.
right? Near to Porto de Galinhas,
Yes. Yeah.
right? And when she got her budget together,
Yeah.
she went to the communities and spoke with the community leaders.
Mm.
She said, "Look, this is how much money we've got.
Yeah.
What do you want it to be spent on?"
Yes.
And they decided,
Mm.
so that nobody could complain that she's been spending it on the wrong things.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like,
And that was brilliant on her part
mm.
because, firstly, she'd got a job done within probably the first 2 or 3 months of a mandate,
Yeah.
and the rest of the time she's just got her feet up on the desk
Mm.
because the money's already been allocated and spent on what the people want.
Yeah. Oh dear, like local government, there's a Yes Minister segment about this, yeah, about giving, because that's the trouble. But by doing that, she took away, you would take away a whole group of civil servants who do that, and
No, because once again, she will instruct them
mm,
to execute what the people want. The civil servants will still execute it.
yeah,
She's the one who's gives them the final. She could have done it two ways. She could have ignored the community leaders
yeah,
and decided herself what she'd do it on,
yeah,
what she'd spend the money on.
mm,
But she used their opinions instead. She still gave the orders to the civil servants. The civil servants still executed what she wanted, and there you have it.
yeah,
And I don't see. And if anybody knows what's wrong with the community, it's the people who live in the community. And
yeah,
I think this thing about the private landlords.
mm,
I think that if there was a sort of a plebiscito, a referendum
yeah,
in a local community, if part of the council's money could be spent on doing up these HMOs,
yeah,
uh, you know, and if the community agrees to it, nobody can complain.